morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Adventures with the Memory Makers. Today I'm on a solo adventure, bringing you guys along on the first episode of Deer Blind Cooking with Sam. As you can see, it's a little chilly in the blind this morning. My thermometer's showing 27 degrees. See the steam coming out of my breath. But it's November 26th. It's Saturday morning, the last Saturday of deer gun season here in Indiana. And just wanted to bring you guys along. Had a lot of people ask about, cooking in my deer blind, and just wanted to show you how simple it can be and how nice it is to have something warm to eat. I'm gonna go ahead and get the heater fired up here and get things warmed up in the blind. But I'll take you guys on a tour of the blind here in just a second. I got a little buddy heater down here on the floor in front of me. Works really well. It's only a 4x4 box blind, so it doesn't take much to heat this up. In fact, we'll probably get too warm here in a bit and have to turn this off. But when it comes to cooking, I've got two cook surfaces. I can actually cook here on top of my buddy heater. I bought it's a kind of a deflector shield for it that sits on top of it. Got some guy online was making them out of Oregon, I believe, and I picked one up for about $40, and it's been really nice. That's nice to set stuff on. It takes a while for it to heat up though, but once it heats up, it's nice. And then I also have from Walmart. It's probably one of the best buys at Walmart. It's a camp stove that comes with a converter so that you can use it on a 1-pound propane cylinder. And the nice thing about that is these isobutane cylinders are really handy, really nice. But when they get below 32 degrees, butane itself stops gassing off. So inside, you can swish this around, and you can feel the liquid in there. But when it gets below 32 degrees, that butane liquid won't convert itself into a gas, and they just don't work. And I learned that the hard way on a ski trail one year with Cindy. It was going to make lunch on the trail, and it was like 0 out. We were cross-country skiing, and my stove would not work. So we went hungry. So they make butane stoves that will work in low temperatures. This isn't one of them. But the stove from Walmart, the nice thing about it is it comes with an adapter for the 1-pound propane cylinders. So you can use it in your blind as well. I just advise if you use that 1-pound cylinder, get a base to sit it in to give it a little bit more stability so that it doesn't fall over. You don't want to have your cook stove fall over, especially it gets kind of top heavy when you put something on top of it. So I'd recommend that. It's a quiet morning here in the woods. Normally, walking in, I got like a 3/4 mile walk from our house back to my blind. And generally, I'll hear deer kind of moving out of the way as I walk in. It's very quiet this morning. I take a leaf blower to my trail so that there's not a lot of leaves on it. There's some fall afterwards. And we got a 1/2 inch of rain Friday night, which we were really dry. Needed that. So it was very quiet walking in this morning. I just didn't hear anything moving out. I was in the blind Thursday afternoon, Thanksgiving afternoon, and saw 6. But as luck would have it, I got my buck opening morning, and I'll put a link to that video in the description if you want to watch that. So now I'm just able to take a doe here in Indiana, and as luck would have it, the only shots I've been getting have been at bucks. The does have either been in the brush or just stayed further away for some reason. It's usually the other way around, but that's the luck of the draw there. So, but let me get my coffee poured here real quick, and then we'll get started making breakfast. I'll show you how easy this can be. I bring my coffee over in the thermos. That just makes it quick and easy to get the coffee. One less thing I have to make in the blind. Oh, that's going to feel good. Nice warm cup of coffee. If you're wondering why all the lights are red, I'm trying to preserve what little night vision I have, because it's still going to be fairly dim when I open up the windows here a little before 7 o'clock. And it takes my eyes so long to adjust back to darkness. The red light will help preserve that. Oh, that's good. That's hot. So we're already up to 31 degrees here. Like I said, it didn't take much to heat this up. I'm going to get my pan preheating. So on the menu this morning, we've got blueberry English muffins with butter and blueberry jam. And then we have got, and I'm going to warm up my blueberry muffin in this little pan that sits on top of my buddy here. This works really well. It's a nice size for the blind. I've made eggs in this before. It's just a handy little size for deer blind cooking. But for breakfast, the main course, we're going to have a Mountain House Adventure Meal breakfast skillet. This is probably my favorite breakfast that they put out. And if you aren't familiar with these Mountain House meals, I really encourage you to take a look at them. They're a little expensive, for what they are. But when you can have a nice warm meal in the woods, for $10, that's priceless. So this one has shredded potatoes, scrambled eggs, pork sausage, peppers and onions. It's really good. Cindy and I will share this. And the great thing about these Mountain House meals is we take them with us everywhere. You never know when you're going to get stuck or when you need some food. These things will last, I don't know, like 30 to 50 years. You guys kind of wonder what's in your food to last 30 to 50 years, but they're really tasty. Super easy to make. You just add boiling water, stir them up, seal it back up in this package, and eat it right out of its package. But we take them with us in our baggage everywhere. And that came in really handy this past winter. We got stuck in a snowstorm in a cabin up in northern Michigan. We went to ski, and it actually wasn't a snowstorm, it was an ice storm. And that's what got us stuck. It was just freezing rain and sleet all day long. So we just stayed in the cabin and watched it come down outside. But we had food because we had these and some other food that we brought with us, and we had plenty of booze. So we weren't too concerned about the whole ice storm thing. But we had a nice breakfast with this, and I think we made biscuits and gravy with it. So we were stuffed and just went back to sleep. But they're really handy. We always have them on hand at the house because you just never know when an emergency might pop up and you need something quick to eat. They make all kinds of entrees. Their pad thai, it's delicious, and they're so easy to make. So I'm gonna try to keep the noise down as much as I can, but it's actually pretty quiet in here. With the windows down, they seal. So, there's a vent at the top to let air out. But as far as deer hearing me inside, with the windows down, it is pretty quiet. But to make this, all you do is tear the top of it off. And there's a little oxygen packet in here. It collects the oxygen that might get in here when they seal it up to keep it fresh. So you want to make sure you get that out. A lot of people will forget these in there and just don't eat it. You can cook with it in there. I just wouldn't recommend eating it. So this one, you just add 1 1/4 cups of water, boiling water to it, and then stir it up once you do that. I'll set this down here. It needs to get warm. I'm going to go get my English muffin started here on the stove and do a half at a time. Put them on there. Butter ready. I keep a little stash of seasoning out here in the blind. I've got salt, pepper, a little camp mixer here or camp shaker. And I've got my utensils. Don't know why I wound up with titanium utensils, but they're made by Optimus. Super light, and the spoon's actually pretty good size. It's kind of like a soup spoon, so it works well for eating meals like that out of the bag. And I've got a stainless steel cup here that I use to boil water in, and I pre-marked it. You probably won't be able to see this on the side, but I put little punch marks on the side at 1/2 cup intervals, so I know how much water I'm putting in. And then up here, I bring water with me instead of keeping it in the blind. The reason for that is because last night was 28 degrees. The water would probably be frozen in here this morning. I'd have to thaw that out, so I just bring water with me. About the right amount. Fire up my little camp stove here. These have a piezo igniter on the side. You just click, makes a little spark, fires right up. And like I said, these work really well. I just don't like to work when they're really cold. And I know that the true purist deer hunters out there they cringe when I talk about this. But I'm not the first guy to do this. There are several guys on YouTube that did this long before me. I watched Charlie the plumber up in Michigan. He passed away his time cooking up sausages and stuff in his deer blind. I try not to get too elaborate. Like I said, the Mountain House meals, they come in their own containers, so that's super easy. I'll bring some leftovers, and warm up on my little skillet or something like that from the house. But I'm not making 4-course meals out here. It's just so nice. I get to the woods early. First light around here this morning won't be till around 7 o'clock. And we have a dense fog advisory, so I'm really hoping that when I open the windows, it's just super foggy. I love being in the woods in the fog. It's kind of a magical place when it's foggy like that. So it's a nice way to pass the time. And everyone says, a lot of people tell me, you're not going to get a deer cooking in your deer blind. With the exception of the last 2 years, I didn't take a deer. It was that I could not have. It's just our deer numbers were so low I didn't. But prior to that, every year, I'd always got a deer. This year, opening morning, and I'm going to share some pictures with you because I think this is kind of funny. So opening morning, I got in the blind about the same time, like 5:15, and I've got a deer camera right out here in front that looks back at the blind. And the deer that I harvested at 8:30 was standing right outside my deer blind at 6:05 in the morning, looking up at the blind, probably wondering what I was having for breakfast. So, that was proof that yes, you can cook in your deer blind and still get a deer. It was a huge deer, and like I said, I'm not a trophy hunter. I hunt purely for meat, and I may not even take another deer this year, but I just enjoy being in my deer blind. I'm hunting with my pistol only through the rest of the season because I really would like to get one with my BFR. I hunt with a Magnum Research BFR and 4570. It's a great pistol and it's super, super well built. Shoots great, but hunting with a pistol, you got to be pretty selective with your shots. So, like I said, the only shots I've had so far with the pistol have been on other bucks, and I've already got my one buck for the season, so I've had to let them go. But I've had a lot of fun sitting out here and watching the critters. So let me take you guys on a quick tour here and show you my setup while the water heats up, my English muffin heats up. So it's pretty tight in here. I'm not going to be able to get a good camera angle, but here on my bench here in the front, I got my binoculars. I've got my spoon ready to go. I got my jam and my butter softening up for my English muffin down here below. My BFR is sitting right here. Got my cup of coffee. We're now at 42 degrees in here, and it's warming up real nicely. This rail, if you're wondering why I got a rail in here, originally when I built this tripod stand or modified the tripod stand, I had a ground blind on it. So in order to be a little safer, I built this steel rail and just kind of left it in here when I put the solid walls on. So around the side here, I've got windows on 3 sides that open up. They're just solid windows open up to the outside. I got a cleat up here that holds it. A picture of the Cindy up here. I got a shelf that I store more food. I got snacks up here, a hand warmer, turkey calls, spare fuel. Another picture of Cindy. Got my front window. There's the cleat that holds it up. And then got my side window here on the west side with its cleat. And then down here on the floor level, obviously I've got my buddy heater and my English muffin warming up. Got my breakfast down here, my backpack. Got paper towels on the back wall. Got a pillow to lay my head back on. I've got coat hooks up here for jackets. like I said, it's cozy, it's small, but it works well. I can smell the blueberries in my mini muffin here, or my English muffin. So like I said, I just try to keep things simple. Mountain House meals, really fill you up. Got good flavor. Uh, Here's a note of caution on the pad thai. Um, I didn't know that it came seasoned. So the first one I ate, I brought some crushed red peppers to put in it. Whew, that was hot. I think I drank all the water I brought with me, trying to cool off on that one. I can hear my water starting to boil already. That's the neat thing about those little those backpacking stoves. They're a really intense heat focused right on the bottom of that pot. It doesn't take long to boil a cup and a half of water. So we'll have breakfast going here in no time. This blind started out as a tripod stand with just a seat on top. I gave $20 for the old stand. Took it all apart, took it home, and added on to the platform to make it 4x4. We just welded on some extensions on it so I could have room for the walls. And then, like I said, I used my ground blind on top of it for the first season, and boy, it was great. Had heat in here and a ground blind up on top. It actually felt like it was a little roomier because the sides bowed out, whereas these are straight sides. Still had just the 4x4 base, but it worked well. So then the next season I built a solid blind, and I use this throughout the winter. I'll get a cup of coffee and just take a walk through the woods and walk the trails, get my game camera pictures, and I'll hop up in the blind here, turn the heat on, go through my pictures, watch some critters. I've had foxes come through here, coyotes and other things, and it's just kind of neat to sit out here and have a place to warm up, and it's been really nice. I've really enjoyed it. So got my water boiling now. And there's all kinds. You can see the dried peppers in here, and onions, and eggs, and potatoes, and these are really good. I mean, for breakfast, I'll be stuffed and asleep by 7 o'clock. So let me turn off my heat. And it's as simple as pouring your water in here and stirring it up. And if you're wondering, that does get warm pretty quick on your hand. So you want to make sure you get everything down the bottom stirred up, because if not, you'll have pockets of freeze-dried food. Oh boy, it smells good. And just zip it back up. It says let sit for 5 minutes, stir it back up, let it sit for another 4 minutes. So while that's warming up, I'm going to put up my cookware here. Got that, and I believe my English muffin is pretty well warmed up. Might smell the blueberries. So like I said, I just enjoy this part of it so much. I get out here really early, trying to let things calm down. In the process of trying to decide where and how much bigger I want to build another blind. I'd really like to have the option of having room for another person. Cindy and I, we're the adventures of the memory makers, and this is one thing that I do by myself that I really wish that she could come with me. I don't know how well she would do with the deer hunting part of it, but if I build it big enough that we could spend the night in it, I think we would probably come out here the night before, sleep on the floor on an air mattress, and then pop the windows in the morning after breakfast and watch the woods wake up. She loves being outside and in the woods, so I really think that she'd get a kick out of that. As far as deer hunting goes with her, I could probably see her being like Bill Engvall's wife. And about the time I get ready to shoot the deer, she might scream out, "Run, deer, run!" She loves deer meat, but the whole deer hunting process, I don't think she wants to be part of that. But definitely would like to have one a little bigger, especially now after seeing how well I like this and how much enjoyment I get out of it. So just trying to figure out where I want to put it and how much bigger. This is 4x4, and I wouldn't go any smaller. it would be nice if I could stretch my legs out. So I'm thinking maybe like a 6x6 or 6x8. That would definitely give me room to overnight in it if I wanted to. So let's get some butter on the English muffin here. Oh yeah, it's getting good and warm. It's getting good and warm in here too. It's up to 50 degrees already. Squeeze the butter on there. It'll melt right pretty quick. And I know a lot of you probably know about this already, but we save our condiment packages from restaurants. We've kind of got our favorite restaurants for our favorite condiments. But that's Kentucky Fried Chicken squeeze butter. That works really well, in the blind for stuff like this. Chick-fil-A has awesome sauces. So if you want barbecue sauce or stuff like that, Chick-fil-A is a good place to hit for that. In fact, now that I think about it, we probably ought to do a video just on sauce collection or condiment collection for camping and deer blind cooking. We take a selection with them of different condiments on our boat with us. So no matter what we cook during the summer, we can scrounge around in there and find barbecue sauce for hot dogs or stuff like that, and ketchup and butter. It comes in really handy. Right, butter's melting. I'm gonna get the second half of my English muffin cooking. I had the chuckle opening morning here in Indiana this year, and I got a video out on this. It was a wonderful morning for me because, and this may never happen again, but we got 2 inches of snow opening morning. And I remember sitting in here, it started like at 7:30. So I had the windows open and there was nothing when it opened up. And all of a sudden about 7:30, it started snowing. And by 7:45, it was snowing really hard. So I'm sitting in here, I already had breakfast, got my coffee, got my heater going. I'm watching the snow and I'm thinking about my neighbor to the north of me. He's sitting outside in a ladder stand up on a tree. And it was cold, and that snow was wet when it started falling. And I'm sure he was ready to come down here and kill me because I was sitting here nice and toasty and he was sitting up there freezing. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again 1,000 times. I never read anywhere about deer hunting that says a deer hunter must suffer. So I'm not going to. This is probably about as close to home as a deer hunter can get. There are a lot nicer blinds out there than this. I just put this together out of scrap, basically. But there's some very elaborate ones out there where guys are living the good life in their deer blind. Now, there's probably a few air-conditioned ones out there. But for what this is, it works really well. So I'm going to have a bite of breakfast here. That's good. So it's now 6:04 in the morning. And like I said, opening morning, and I'll share that picture with you guys. That deer was standing right out there. Probably heard me crunching my English muffin. I'm going to stir up my Mountain House breakfast here. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Like I said, you just want to make sure you get down in the creases of the bag and make sure you don't have any dried food left down in there. You want to spread that moisture all around. That's hot. That's good. Like I said, if you've never tried one of these before, Walmart carries them. A lot of outdoor stores, REI, places like that. And I'll pick them up through the year. I've got a tote at home I keep them in. And anytime I see a deal on them, sometimes they'll go on sale a little bit. So anytime I see a deal, I'll pick some up, put them in the tote. We have those for breakfast on the boat. I mean, it's so quick and easy to make. It doesn't make a mess of anything. So, that's our quick breakfast on the boat. Use them deer hunting. Like I said, we took them with us, skiing. Just very handy to have on hand. And they taste really good. Man, that's good. So it's 6:05 now. The temperature is continuing to climb here in the blind. We're up to 54 degrees. There's no insulation in the walls. I might insulate the next one. So if I turn the heat off, it cools off in here pretty quick. But I think I'm going to shut the heat off before I get too hot. As soon as my next English muffin here warms up. Yeah. Like I said, when I was over here Thursday, Thanksgiving afternoon, after we had lunch with the family, I came over and sat in the blind and had, I believe, 6 deer that day. One of them woke me up. It was so dry then before the rain that he came walking down the hill on the trail, and oh my gosh, he was making so much noise. I mean, it made more noise than me snoring. So I watched him, and then I had a group of does come in, 5 does from the west, and they got over in a drain here by southwest. And they stayed over in that drain area until it got dark. But just before dark, 2 of them got into a fight. And oh my gosh, there's an awful commotion over there. And I kind of looked, and one of them standing up on her hind legs. She's doing the cat fight thing with the other one. And, they go after a little bit, and then one started to walk away, and then she's like, "I'm not done yet." And she come back to the next one. So that was really fun to watch. And then last Saturday morning, it was cold. It was like 17 degrees. I'm walking in, super quiet, got my headlight on. A bobcat ran across the trail in front of me, climbed up the side of a big white oak tree, and just gave me up the road. I mean, he was not happy that I disturbed whatever he was doing. But we're getting quite a few bobcats back in the area. But that's the closest I've ever been to one. And at 5 o'clock in the morning in the dark, a bobcat makes so much noise. And until I figured out what it was, I was just a little concerned inside. I didn't know what the heck was going on. The jelly makes it. That's good. I think it's time for breakfast. Oh, that smells so good. Don't know how well this is going to show up in the red light, but I got hash browns, sausage, eggs, peppers, and onions. I mean, you can see the steam coming off of it. It's a nice warm meal, super easy, super quick. It doesn't take a lot of materials in here to produce it. So, bottoms up. Yeah. Gosh, God. Well, I'm not going to put you guys through this. I'm going to eat my breakfast, and then I'll get back with you here about 10 till 7 when we go to open the side windows up. And hopefully it's very foggy when I open it up, but I don't think it's going to be here. We just don't have enough ground moisture. But I'm going to eat my breakfast. I'll get back with you guys here in a bit. That's good. That was a delicious breakfast. My stomach is now full. I'm getting sleepy. It's about 6:45. I'm going to shut the lights off here and let my eyes adjust to the darkness for a little bit, and then open the side windows up. Last Saturday, when I opened the side windows up about 10 till 7, I started on the east side, went to the south. When I opened this west window up right here, I rolled it up, looked out, and it was still fairly dark out, but there was a deer standing like 15 feet west of my blind. I don't know how long she'd been there. It was in Indiana, you can shoot at first light, which is 30 minutes before actual sunrise time. But in the woods, it's still so dark, I can't see the sights until a lot of times after the sunrise time. So there was no chance of me getting a shot at her. But that just goes to show that, I've made more noise this morning than I did then because I wasn't talking. But last week I made breakfast, and I think I had scrambled eggs and bacon, Mountain House meal, and the English muffin. So I did everything else, except the talking. And 15 feet away stood a deer outside my deer blind after I'd cooked breakfast. So, it's doable. Maybe we just have stupid deer here in Indiana. I don't care. They taste good. So I'm going to shut this off and turn the lights down, and I'll get back with you here when I open up the windows in a little bit. quiet morning here in the deer blind. Just seen about 50 squirrels and one small buck. Um, we've got this one deer that we've seen on the cameras now for several years. It only grows one tine, his right tine, so we call him one tine. He came out about 30 yards from the blind out here and milled around a little bit. I was hoping that there was going to be other deer with him because he usually runs with others, but it was just him by himself this morning. Only heard one shot. That was way off in the distance. Cindy texted me and asked me if that was me. I was really surprised that she heard that at the house, but that said, it was a beautiful morning. Had a great breakfast. We got to head back to the house and get ready. We got to go get our Christmas tree today, so it's that time of year. Don't know if I'll be out tomorrow morning again for the last day, but if I do, you can bet I'll be making breakfast. So thank you all for coming along with me on this first deer blind cooking episode with me, and hope to see you again soon on other videos.